Hey, my bold, beautiful people. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Bold Wife podcast. I've gotten a number of questions that ask me about what this podcast is about exactly. And my answer will be through a question of why do I call my podcast the Bold Wife podcast? Well, it is the 21st generation, and I believe that it has come with a unique quality of people who are bold enough to dream, to chase their dreams, who are strong enough to break generational curses, who are wise enough to seek out for knowledge. Well, we are quite distinguished, and there's only one way to embrace it, and that's by learning how to be able to integrate it into our lives. And that is why I call it the Bold Wife podcast. For those who have subscribed, thank you so much. For those who have commented, thank you so much. And for those who have liked, thank you so much. As well as to those who have shared the link. And this is going to be the second video. So let's get right into it. Now, today we are going to be discussing briefly on how you can be able to find your why. A number of people love to call it purpose. A number of people love to call it the reason as to why you exist. I'll simply call it the spark in life. How do you find that spark that wakes you up in the morning, that gives you a sense of direction, that thing that you long to be, or that person that you want to be when you are your higher self? For example, you want to be this person who is very good at work, who keeps deadlines, who is always smart, who smells nice, who looks their best, and doing their best. And that is what we're going to be talking about. Personally, I think that purpose or finding your why is something that is very easy, and you can be able to term it to attach it to a number of different things. And one way that you can be able to find your why, your spark, the thing that gets you up in the morning, it is very simple. First of all, you have to look at your values. Some of us are family oriented. We love our family, and they're the ones who give us purpose to live. So in that way, in everything you do right now in the moment of time, you do it to make your family happy because you love them so much. They've sacrificed so much for you, and that is what you want in life. Some of us are goal oriented, and here I would love to give myself. The more that I do something I love, the more that I do something that I want to know more about, that I'm comfortable doing in my space, that is how I feel like I am fulfilling my purpose in life. And some people are relationship oriented, they're marriage oriented. Some people just want to make their partners happy, things like that. So that is what gives you a spark in life. That is what drives you, things like that. So I made some notes so that they could be able to guide me through this podcast, so that I cannot forget the important things to talk about, and also to keep it brief. So finding this why is attributed to a number of factors, like I said, and take it step by step if you're on a journey of finding your purpose, right? Or something that makes sense to you in life, because the how and the what it is, they'll figure out themselves along the way. But first of all, you need to ask yourself this question of why am I here? Right? Why am I here today in this moment? And before we get deeper into this, I would love to say that purpose is something that changes over time. Every other day, as humans, we tend to change out of every season. We grow out of every season. The way that we were when we were 15 is not the same way that we are now. So that is exactly the same thing with purpose. It changes over time. So that has been understood. And let's get back into the topic. So like I said, you need to find out your why. And under this, you have to ask yourself some relatable questions. Like, again, this is a one-on-one conversation with yourself. Yes. So this is mostly about self-love and self-knowing and, loving yourself a little bit more. So one of the questions you ask yourself is, what is that thing that makes me happy? What's that thing I do that makes me happy, right? If it's playing soccer, maybe it's that. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's art. That is how you find your purpose in life. Simply like that. Or your purpose in the moment of time. Maybe right now you have been given to love someone the way that they want to be loved. And that is your purpose in the moment right now. So you do it, and you do it to your best. So it is things like that that drive us. Sometimes some people are, when I go back to people who are career oriented, they find more satisfaction in being in business space. They want to open up businesses, they want to run businesses, they want to build empires, things like that. And whereas those who are family oriented, they want to love their families, provide for them, da 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 da, you know, be the lover girl and the lover boy that you are meant to be. And at the end of the day, if that's what makes you happy, then so be it. And one thing we need to understand that is that each and every one of us has a different purpose in life. My purpose is different, or what I feel like I'm obligated to do is different from my neighbor, is even different from my sister, even twins. They have a different purpose in life, much as they were both born by the same mom. So here on this page, we don't judge, we listen. So a number of us have different purposes, right? I could be family oriented, and that is what matters to me. So if I tell you about it, you should be able to take it in and be respectful about it and give me back the same energy. So conflict comes in when people think that the fact that we are friends, or the fact that we've grown up together for a lot of our lives, means that we need to have the same purpose, or what I like is what you should also like. That is not true. When it comes down to finding your why, it only matters to you. You know, some people love teaching. You know, there are some people who love a lot of things that a number of us don't love, and we love to call them weird sometimes because we fail to understand them at our own level of understanding. And tell you what, the funny thing is that that person does not also understand you at their own understanding, right? Because we all have different values and different things that make us happy out of life. So that is what I am talking about today. And I do get a lot of conversations with my friends, and they tell me that for them, they feel like they've not yet found their purpose. Well, don't be so focused on finding your purpose in life. Be focused in living your life in the moment of time. Along the way, you are going to be able to find out things that work for you, find out things that make you happy, and that is why you'll find your purpose. Be reminded that a purpose is not something that is stationary, that you're going to love this for the whole of your life. You can't love anything for the whole of your life, but it keeps changing. You know, this season you could love speech, the next season you could love mentorship, the next season you would love teaching. You know, it keeps changing, but it's not always far-fetched. I hope you've understood that. Then one thing I would encourage you, if you're on the journey of finding your purpose or your reason as to why you exist, is to live in the present. Try to center all your thoughts, your emotions on what is happening currently. Things have happened in the past, and they're best left in the past. Because if you choose to dwell your energy in the past, you're not going to yield anything besides what went wrong or what went right. And if you choose to focus on the future, you are going to end up being so stressed in the present moment because you feel like you've not yet reached that higher self that you want to be. But keeping yourself grounded in the present is what is going to help you find out the things that you like, the things that you love doing when you're alone, the things that you want to do in your community. And that is exactly how you find your why, your spark in life, the thing that gives you a sense of direction and a sense of fulfillment. Trust me, you don't want to live a life and you have everything that you ever wanted, but you still feel like you're lacking something. Yeah. And a number of people, when we interact with the older generation or the older people, they tell us to find that thing about yourself that makes you unique, that makes you love yourself. You know, it's like that beautiful strength that not everyone has but you. And most of us have always had it. If you get back to your childhood days, those times when there's this one thing that you love doing over time, and maybe even your family members started calling you that as a nickname, you know. So get back. If you're not really certain, ask your mom, what did I really love doing when I was young? And try it again now. If it makes sense, that's very good. If it doesn't, at least you tried. Go ahead and try other things, and that way you'll be able to find out what your why is. And some of the different questions to ask yourself are: what makes sense to you? what makes sense to you. What makes sense to me may not make sense to you, and what makes sense to you may not make sense to me. So again, this is a one-on-one conversation where you choose what makes sense to you and focus entirely on that. Then you ask yourself, what are my priorities right now? I gave an example earlier of people who are family oriented, and they tend to love their families more, and it won't make sense to them to fulfill happiness out of the world, and when they're back at home they're not happy, right? So if family is your priority, what is it about family that is your priority? If it's your career, what in your career is your priority? If it is your business, what in your business is your priority? If it's your relationship, what kind of person would you want to prioritize? Who would you want to be with? You know, that kind of thing. So, like I said, it's a continuous journey where you are going to be able to find a lot of things about yourself, learn and unlearn and relearn new things along the way. So that way you are going to be able to live a life of fulfillment. Yeah, then number of times a purpose is something that you can be able to give back to the society, right? It does not only make sense to you, but doing it to help others, is what makes more sense. I hope I make some sense right now. For example, have you tried to help someone someday? Like, even though it's not your thing, like there's that sense of happiness that you feel that can't be taken away from you, right? And you see that the number of people love it that way. When they help someone, they get so happy. So that is something that your purpose is supposed to give you. If you love art, how are you going to make art beneficial to society? If you love speech, like me, how am I going to make speech beneficial to society? And that's something that I have had to think about over time. I really love to talk, and I have not yet gotten the platforms big enough for me to actually talk about what I want to talk about. And that is why I decided to open up the podcast. And with the podcast, I believe and pray that I'm able to reach out to the crowd that I really want to fraternize with, or to get to know more about. And that way, I am leveraging my love for speech and giving back to society in a way that is best fit for me. And a little bit about me, I've been always someone who talks a lot. Trust me. Throughout high school, I was this person who would read books, novels a lot, and watch movies. So, you know, being in high school, we never really had a lot to watch, or just phones to be on 24/7. So we would always indulge ourselves in mouth-to-mouth conversations. And I'd be that person who sits and jazzes, and sometimes I would even add in more soup of how I wanted the movie or the book I read to be, you know. If the author or the director didn't do it the way I wanted, I would add in more soup to make it more interesting, and I would always have people captivated by the stories that I would say. And funny enough, in my A level, I tried to go for speech prefect. I was unopposed, but I still failed to get that position because of some issues that may have been self-inflicted or maybe not. But whatsoever, I'm doing speech now in 2024. I would never have thought that in 2019, I would never have thought that I would be this person. But thank God. And that is in this moment of time that I am at, maybe I'll outgrow it, maybe not. But in this moment of time that I am in, I feel like this is something I love to do. It is something that I can still do at the end of the day when I'm tired. And I do have a friend who he loves forex trading, right? And I think anytime, any day, this is something that he can do. But purpose should not end at just you. It should be able to help those around you, right? If you're someone with a soft heart and you love to help, you can start up an NGO in your home area, things like that. If you're someone who is passionate about singing, how are you going to make that something to give back to society? You can go to those, I don't know, orphanages and sing with those people. Sing music that people love, you know, that heals people, right? Compose things like that. And that way you're going to be able to give back to society. So I hope we are together on that. And through purpose, you are able to build through living through something that you love, you are able to build a legacy. How so? When you pass on, people will always know that this person loved this and they did it for their best, right? Let's look at some of these celebrities who have passed on. Let's look at is he called Bonifile? Was here Ugandan. They even still organize those concerts in respect for him. Let's look at Radio, who passed on recently, and people still acknowledge his legacy because he did something he loved, and that is what I'm talking about, finding your why. That spark. You can't, I repeat it, you can't go through this life without just looking at your work or maybe school. Like, find that something. If it's not something and it's a person, find that person. Trust me, life is going to be so beautiful. And if it's not beautiful, at least it will be better. At least you'll have something to look at. I mean, at least all of us have been in love, right? And you know that routine that you have with your lover or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you know that every time at, let me say, 8 p.m. you have a late night phone call. Not really late night, but you have a night phone call. Trust me, you'll be looking forward to that time, right? So that you can be able to talk to this person because you cannot wait. That's the same thing about finding your why, right? It is something that just sparks, gives you a sense of direction. I mean, even when you're seated with people and you hear a conversation about it, your eyes just light up, That is how you're going to be able to love life, to live a fulfilled life, a purpose-driven life. Anyways, I really love this topic, but we need to get moving. Then, so for someone who's also taking time to discover what your why is, these are some of the tips that I can give you. Through discovering, first of all, discover your strengths and weaknesses. Of course, your why cannot, it is really rare for it to live in your weaknesses, but if it is in your weaknesses, try to make it your strength. How? I feared public speaking. I even never knew that I would speak in public, but through going to a leadership training, I was able to build on it. And right now I can say that I can stand up and speak in front of people. I have spoken in front of people. I have spoken in front of the army. I have spoken to millionaires, investors. So it is through strengthening that weakness. And if it is already a strength, well and good. All you need to do is to pull up your socks and create some visibility for yourself. Secondly, set clear goals. When you ask yourself, what is it that I want? Do I want to be a songwriter? Do I want to be an author? Do I want to be a movie director? Don't just think it. Sit down and write short-term goals vis-a-vis long-term goals. In the short-term goals, you want to be a director, first of all. Do you have a script? Do you have people who are going to do this? It is a step-by-step thing that builds over time. But when you think about it, every other day, you do it, you love it. Now, let me give you an example of people who love baking. Yeah? They set up bakeries, right? Because they know that any day, anytime, they can be able to bake a cake. That is something that they love. And how do they give it back to society? They can choose to bake a cake for an orphanage party. They can choose to bake a cake and go visit the sick in the hospital, and it's just something that they are doing because they love it. They can choose to gift a friend a cake just because it's their birthday or they're just celebrating them. So that is, and they'll feel happy about it. In most cases, when you're living on a life of why or a purpose-driven life, you don't even feel the need to be given anything. You don't feel the need to be accredited for what you've done because you already love it. You already feel happy doing it, right? The reason as to why you feel an obligation of I need to be paid, is because maybe and at this moment I wouldn't blame anyone because we are all going through it. We are doing things that we don't really like, but I'm sure along the way we are going to be able to find out those things. I was watching this podcast by this novelist who wrote 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene, and he was saying that the best time to find out your why is in your 20s, because in your 30s the chances reduce in your 30s, and when you reach your 40s, you may never find it, and you're just living life without a reason. So please be more critical on finding your why in life. So like I said, define what it means to you. Define what happiness means to you. If happiness means having the best car out there, if happiness means you being your best self, your best shape, then work towards it. If it means having financial stability, then work towards it. If your happiness means, I don't know, going out every day, then just do that, because that's what makes sense to you. I wouldn't advise you to do that, but if it's what makes sense to you, please do not stop yourself, because that is your why. That is the reason as to why you exist. Yeah, but remember, it must be something that is positive, that has a positive impact in your life as well as the society. Yes. So the next step is, please be consistent. Please be consistent. Consistency. And that is the name of the game. In order for you to be where you want, to live the fulfilled life you want to be consistent. If it's family, you want to be consistent with family. If it's career, you really want to be consistent and resilient when it comes to your career. If it is your relationship, you must be willing to work on those things that you're told to work on, right, by your partner. So that is what it takes to be someone who is in a purpose-driven life. Then along the way, you must be able to learn to embrace change and growth. And how do you do so? You embrace change by being able to take constructive criticism where you're not doing well. Along the way, you're going to find people who have already done it, and they can mentor you. So you should be someone with an open mind, right? And you'll be able to accept where you need to change, and etc. Then there are also challenges. Guys, living a purpose-driven life, or a life that you think is nice. This is why I think most people end up chasing careers. But even in careers, there are those hurdles that you face. But a passion, if you want some rejection, try living a passion. Guys, it is not easy. It is not easy. You're going to have people fighting you left, right, and center. And sometimes they even close people. And these people may not be in support of your why. Why are you doing this? You could be doing this with your life, But at the end of the day, this only makes sense to you. So, and there's this quote I've read that says that do not take advice from someone who is not where you want to be in life. Do not forget that, because they don't know what it takes to be that person. But rather, in that line of life that you want to follow, there is someone who has already made it. Look out for them and ask them how to be. Not to be like them, but how to make it. The tips, the do's and don'ts. And that is exactly how you're going to be able to live the life that you love. Guys, that is very easy. I'm sure you can do it. Hey. Then, and last, like I already said, you must be willing to give back and make an impact in society. The least that you can do in these days is to help someone. Help someone, whoever it is, a friend, a cousin, a sister, a brother, a relative, an enemy. Guys, just do it for yourself. Just do it to make your heart happy, to lift the burdens of your heart, because at the end of the day, it's what you love. It's what brings out the life in you. So if you can't do that for the people around you, if they can't feel this impact of what you love, then you actually don't love it. Anyways, that was it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and to also share the link so that we can grow the page. And thank you for being bold enough to seek out this wisdom. And thank you so much for joining the Bold Wave. Please, if you're out there and you want to share something on this podcast, I am very open. Please let us